Go. Hello, this is Di's Readings and Chats. Thank you for joining me. Today, I will be reading a Disney storybook called The Amazing Muffin Search. Early one morning, Grandma Duck opened all the cupboards in her kitchen. She had a plan, a big plan. "Get up, Gus," she said. "Rise and shine. It's time to start." Gus Goose rubbed his eyes. He was still tired from the day before. Gus had spent the day cleaning his shoelace. Then he had carefully hung it out on Grandma's clothesline and watched it dry. That was the part that really had worn him out. In less than a minute, Gus had been snoring in the hammock and hadn't awakened until just now, when he heard Grandma calling. "Today's the big day," said Grandma. Gus scratched his head, trying to remember what was so big about today. "I forget," admitted Gus. "Just why is today the big day?" he asked Grandma. "Because today we are going to bake a magnificent muffin that wins a prize at the country fair," she said. She threw her old pots to the left and her new pans to the right. Onto the kitchen table they went. Grandma had a plan. "Come on, Gus," said Grandma. "Let's get going." Okay, said Gus. "What kind of muffin should we make?" asked Grandma, looking at her cookbook. "How about cherry?" "Nice and sour," said Gus. "How about banana?" asked Grandma. "Nice and sweet," said Gus. "How about orange juice?" asked Grandma. "Nice and wet," said Gus. "How about peanut butter?" "Nice and dry," said Gus. "I know, I've got it," said Grandma. "We'll make a cherry, banana, orange juice, peanut butter muffin. That will be perfect. Just perfect." Soon, Grandma and Gus were stirring a huge bowl of muffin batter. Then, Grandma poured the batter into a big pan. Gus opened the door and Grandma plopped the cold pan right into the hot oven. The door closed and the marvelous muffin began to bake. It smelled wonderful. Everyone on the farm sniffed the air, wondering what smelled so good. Chip and Dale smelled the muffin too. They said, "That smells good." Meanwhile, the muffin rose and rose. It got bigger and bigger and bigger. Just as it was about to burst out of the oven, Grandma opened the door and took out the most magnificent, gigantic cherry, banana, orange juice, peanut butter muffin anyone had ever seen in the whole wide world. "Oh my," said Grandma. "I bet we'll win first prize at the county fair," said Gus. The muffin stood so tall that Grandma and Gus felt short beside it. It was so fat that Grandma and Gus felt thin beside it. Peering through the window, Chip said, "Now, how can we get a piece of that gigantic muffin?" "There must be a way," answered Dale. The muffin's wonderful smell traveled through the air. It went all the way to the woodchucks' campground, where Huey, Dewey, and Louie were hiking in the woods. "Do you smell what I smell?" asked Huey. "Yes," answered Dewey and Louie. Grandma is baking. In minutes, Huey, Dewey, and Louie were at Grandma's farm. Wow, they said, as they got their first peek at Grandma's gigantic muffin. You're just in time, said Grandma, kissing the three boys hello. This muffin is for the contest at the county fair. You can help us load it onto the truck. Yes, you can. And so, yours, said Huey, Dewey, and Louie. They pushed the muffin. They pulled the muffin. They lifted the muffin. They lowered the muffin. And finally, they tied the muffin tightly to the top of Grandma's truck. Wow, what a job. Great job, said Grandma, but it's hot outside. Come inside for some cold lemonade. Said Chip. If that muffin went up on the truck, there must be a way to get it down, said Dale. Chip and Dale called to the other farm animals. Do you want a treat? Chip asked them. Just follow us, said Dale, and off they marched. Yippity-dip-dip-dip-dip-doo. Yippity-dip-dip-dip-dip-doo. And so they went to go and take the gigantic muffin to the county fair. Sorry to rush, said Grandma, but I think we should leave for the fair now. Then she hugged the boys. No one noticed Chip and Dale as they scurried up a tree with pieces of the gigantic muffin. No one saw the farm animals quietly munching on their portions of the delicious muffin. I'd say it was getting smaller. But as Grandma went to get into her truck, "Where's the muffin?" everyone asked at once. "Gone," said Gus. "But where could it have gone?" said Grandma. "Muffins don't just walk away." "Don't worry, Grandma," said Huey. "We'll help you find the muffin," said Dewey. They all seemed to be rubbing their tummies. Huey, Dewey, and Louie spread out all over the farm, looking for the most muffin. They looked up, they looked down, they looked over, they looked near, they looked far. My, where was that gigantic muffin? They looked high, then they looked low. They looked over things, they looked under things, they looked all over the farm, but they just couldn't find that marvelous, missing, gigantic muffin anywhere. "My marvelous muffin is lost," said Grandma quietly. "Now we wouldn't win a prize at the fair. Now we wouldn't even get to the fair." Big fat tears streamed from Gus's eyes. He cried loudly. Suddenly, Huey, Dewey, and Louie had a great idea. "Get out the old pans," yelled Huey. "Get out the new pans," yelled Dewey. "Get out the flour and the eggs," yelled Louie. "Get out the cherries, the peanuts, the bananas, the orange juice, and the peanut butter," the boys yelled together. "Woodchucks to the rescue!" Suddenly, Grandma's eyes sparkled. She knew what the boys were thinking. "Gus, we're going to bake another muffin," said Grandma. "We are?" asked Gus. "Yes, we are," cried Grandma. Soon, Huey, Dewey, and Louie were mixing cherries, bananas, oranges, and peanut butter. Grandma and Gus were mixing huge bowls of muffin batter. When they were done, Gus opened the stove door and Grandma plopped the full pan right into the middle of the empty oven. Then Grandma, Gus, Huey, Dewey, and Louie all sat back and waited while the air filled once again with wonderful muffin smells. "That muffin sure smells good," said Chip, "but I'm full." "I'm stuffed," said Dale. Finally, the new muffin was done. It was taller, fatter, and smelled even more delicious than the old one. They all pushed and they pulled, they lifted and they lowered, and finally they tied the second muffin tightly onto Grandma Duck's truck. "Thanks, boys," said Grandma as she got into the truck with Gus. "We couldn't have done it without you." "Good luck, Grandma," said Huey. "I bet you'll win first prize," cried Louie. And so, sure enough, that's exactly what she did. As for Chip and Dale, they were starting to feel a tiny bit hungry again. They grinned at each other, knowing they would have got another tasty snack the very first chance they got. And that ends the story of The Amazing Muffin Search. Before I say goodbye to you today, I want to sing you Barney the dinosaur's song. "I love you, you love me, we're one happy family, with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too?" So until we chat again, take care and God bless you and our world.